Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on where you are right now and when you're listening to this. This is Divya Nawale. I'm 2003 A4PS 297, and I'm the project lead and founder of the BITSAA Sahaaya initiative. And as a part of this BITSAA podcast, I have a very special guest with me, a very recent graduate from BITS Hyderabad campus, and it's going to be an exciting session. And so we'll start the fun with actually because I'm so very senior to him. I would like to take his intro, the BITS style. So, Aditya, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, the BITS introduction style?
Sure. I think I should start calling you Didi as well in that process.
No.
So yeah, hi, my name is Aditya Ramaswamy. My ID number is 2016 ABPS 0536H. Come from Bangalore. I studied in BITS Hyderabad. I graduated in 2020 in manufacturing engineering. I'm currently working at Amazon India as an operations manager in Bangalore itself. I also just recently joined the team Sahaya as a volunteer. I think that was one of the major highlights for me in 2020, both Amazon and Team Sahaya. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'd like to describe myself at the moment.
Awesome, awesome. And just I know that BITSAA Sahaaya was launched on October 10th, 2020, which was the World Mental Health Day last year. But to be honest, your journey with BITSAA Sahaaya started like in almost November 2019, right? Because almost a year before Sahaaya was officially launched. Because you have immensely supported the entire process of understanding how BITSAA Sahaaya can even come into existence. So I want to applaud that effort. Definitely. And yeah, thanks for the introduction and thanks for doing this recording with us. I think that's really
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Divya. Thank you. I think that was my honor working with Sahaya even before it became a mainstream part of BITSA and if it became before it was officially launched for BITSA. And to continue that work is what, and to build on that is what I also aim to do here. So thank you. Thanks for your support and thanks for your warm welcome. Thank
okay.
you.
So now actually we're then going back to talk about your research, and this was done as a part of your coursework at Hyderabad campus, right? So do you want to talk
Yeah.
about what this research was, when you did it, and why you chose this topic?
So I actually this was quite an interesting topic for me at that time because the topic just said medical humanities and that really caught my eye. So I got in touch with Dr. Shilpa Anand, who was the professor who was offering us this project. It was an SOP at the time, and she was very receptive to the ideas I had and the kind of what do you say experience I had with student mental health and everything of that sort. That was especially given that at that point in time, which Hyderabad was going through a very different scenario with the mental health and its consequences. And of course, I think most of the students are aware about the confessions page and its posts and all that. So all of that compounded, and I just thought that this could be something that's very interesting. And Dr. Shilpanand was extremely supportive of the direction that I wanted to take. She also had a couple of ideas which were amazing. When we just wanted to take a scope of what is happening with students at campus, maybe just not Hyderabad campus, but across three campuses, and understand where the students stand, where the different stakeholders in
Mm-hmm.
a student's life stand in terms of mental health and its impact on student life. So that was the main agenda for us when we started doing this project.
Okay, and what was the topic of your final research output?
So the name that we gave to the dissertation was Mad at Bits,
Mm-hmm.
an insider's perspective to student mental health. So we just took up student mental health as the base issue and we built around it essentially.
Right.
And we called it Mad at Bits because it came under a couple of research areas, which was madness as a term, which is being reclaimed by most of the people who have been termed as mad.
Mm.
due to their mental health issues. And disability studies was also a part of this entire project that we were doing.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. So two more questions I had here was, so this was pre-pandemic era, right? Before the campuses shut, that you started carrying out this research, right?
We, yes, we started before the pandemic and it went through the starting of the pandemic as well. So it was, half here and half there.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what makes it so interesting, because it actually kind of brings the perspectives from both sides. So, did you go about like a specific research methodology? Like, what was your main approach? Like, did you survey students? Did you kind of do some background research? How did you go about it mainly?
Yeah, so the basic idea was first, of course, I had to go through a lot of literature because I was a newbie in this field, in terms of research at least.
Hmm.
Of course, knowing the ground reality is very different from understanding what actually goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
And So I had to understand that aspect of it, and I read through a lot of books, which Dr. Shilpa was very very helpful with. She suggested a lot of amazing books for me, a lot of good research papers for me to read through also,
Hmm.
and that really brought in a lot of perspective in understanding what the ground reality is and why it is so.
Correct.
And after that, yes, I did go around. I knew a lot of my peers and my juniors and my seniors who'd been through some of these issues. These were some things that we discussed at that point in time, and I used those contacts to just understand whether they are willing to share their story, and
Right.
whether they are, of course we would provide anonymity. And I even Dr. Shilpa wouldn't know who the person is except me. Nobody else knows who that person is.
Right.
So in promising this anonymity and providing them a platform to come forward and share their experience and their stories was something that was definitely a part of this project. And
Mhm.
after that, building a hypothesis on uh, what is happening and why it is happening was quite the uh, step forward after that. And
Right.
to bridge that gap between the theory and the practicality
Mhm.
is what we aim to do in this project.
Correct. So actually, then that flows into my next question. So, what is the current state of mental health among students? What is it, and why is it so? What were your general findings from the research?
I wouldn't say it's bad as such, but I would definitely say there is a cause for concern in terms of the student mental health issue. Even before, even pre-pandemic, there were concerns, and post-pandemic, it is even during the pandemic. I think the concerns have only multiplied. Um,
Okay.
so the issue is that, of course, I think everybody knows that there is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody acknowledges, or not everybody, most of us acknowledge that there's a problem. The only problem is that we're not doing anything about it. Um,
Okay.
be it at a student level, be it at any level in a college hierarchy that we look at it. There are a lot of disjoint groups that are doing a lot of things which is not compounding to what should be done on a larger scale.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
this has been a constant issue where I've spoken to people from maybe 2012, 2013 batches of bits, and this was something that existed at that time, in that time too.
Mm.
Definitely, 100%. It's
Right.
not something that is very new to bits. It's not something that is very new to the administration, the parents, any stakeholder in a student's life.
Mhm.
But it's just that it has been ignored for so long. It has been brushed under the carpet for so long that at some point that it's just too much of backlog that comes in, and everything hits at once. Be it for the
Okay.
administration, students, hit the student itself and the peers of that student also. We see that domino effect in play right now, where um, the people are mostly dumbfounded and they don't know what to do and how to go about it. And that only leads to increasing the problems around it.
I
So, uh,
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
No, no, please, no, no, please go ahead.
I have a question there. So you're saying that it's been brushed under the rug, and one of the reasons for that is because it has always been a quite kind of a taboo to talk about mental health openly, not just in India but around the world, but more so in India, right? So maybe I want to also understand,
Correct.
like,
Right. So
factors were
that
also
is the good part is,
influencing what you found, right? So was it only the tabooness, or in general, are there any other factors at play here?
there's a couple of things. So the bad things was that it is still seen as a taboo. It
Mhm.
is still seen as something that is, that's probably just in your head. Workout, and if you just work out, is going to be better. Don't look at, uh, eh, they're not looking at mental wellness as such, as much as they're looking at distractions. Of course, your physical exercise is going to help you in the longer run, but there is a knack to it. You can't just say, spend some time in the gym and everything is going to be fine.
Right.
So that this was something that came up a lot in this research. And the good part of it is there are people who want to talk about it now.
Awesome.
There are people who want to come forward and share their stories. There are people who want to come forward and say that this happened with me and I don't want it to happen to others.
Hmm.
And I want to be able to tell people that it is okay and it is going to be better probably sooner or later.
Right.
These are some of the good things that came forward out of it, and also we saw that a lot of the stakeholders are also more open and willing to help. It's just that those voices are not coming out, were not coming out before, and
So,
that
mhm.
was another plus point which I saw in this research.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that, for a lack of a better term here, like, Gen Z is what the current students are called, right? So, you're probably saying that Gen Z is doing a better job of being open about these issues as compared to the previous generations. However, I think,
Uh,
I think it's more
yep,
of
yeah, please go ahead.
a lack of coherence in, like having a strong voice together.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that
I think I'm actually losing you.
it's not that that is talking and speaking up is just not that factor. You also have pressure that exists along with just the academic pressure or anything else that is there. It's an increased. It's a very different situation that we are in now than we were, say, 5 years ago, for that matter.
Mhm.
There is, of course, you have to, the peer pressure is higher, it's different, it's a completely different situation in terms of your peers. You have to be look a certain way, everybody expects something out of you. So these factors all come into play in this case. I'm not saying that there's a generational difference,
Mhm.
but the factors that are affecting these people is completely different, and that is why it is coming out the way it is coming out.
Okay, so then let's deep dive into those factors you're talking about. So something I have tried to understand through my research, especially about the current students, and is that they face a lot more identity crisis while they're in college. I mean, I'm sure this has been something for all generations, but
Definitely.
I think it's
100%.
exacerbated in your generation specifically because of social media and just the exposure to information
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's happening right now. So do you see this as a crisis that like that we need to address, and you think this will be a long term, or do you think it's just a phase?
So there are two things here. One is you're definitely, I think there's an identity crisis. People don't identify, they're not able to, they don't think they stand out. They feel that they need to do something extraordinary to be recognized. And that's how our environment has also been built over the last few years or few decades, even for that matter.
Right.
And apart from that, there's also the advent of something that we also call as the imposter syndrome, um, where basically you the people just tend to think that they're not as competent as everybody else believes them to be. Even if there are certain people outside of your domain who think that you are capable, you're very much capable, and you are, enough, like we like to say.
Right.
Uh, it's just that something that they don't believe themselves which is also a very big contributing factor in this case. And of course, social media, it has its pros and cons, and definitely the way we use social media defines a lot of how these things come forward. Of course, we can use it as a platform to make sure that we are reaching the right audience, we are reaching the people there, and at the same time it can be the cancel culture or the kind of things that you see on the internet right now is not very conducive for any person to look forward to say the next few days, the next few weeks, the next few months, and it keeps adding up, it keeps compounding over a period of time. So of
Right.
course these factors are very very big in a student's life currently,
Mhm.
um, especially with easy access to internet and social media. There's this additional pressure that comes in.
Right. Yeah, I think that I mean, even I mean, at least 10 years older generation from the current batch graduate students, which is mainly in my age group, we also kind of face a little bit of that, but not as extreme, because I don't think we grew up with that extreme need to kind of have this identity, and kind of have your whole personality described in that, maybe 150 characters that the Insta or Twitter profile gives you to describe yourself, right? I think
Correct.
that's
So I
something.
think I think a lot of the students' life is dependent on social media to a certain extent.
Yeah, I
So that
understand.
that's where the issue comes.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like that's a big factor, definitely, based on my current interactions with students as well. So, okay, so I think that takes me to my next question. So, what are the current support functions on campus, especially based on your experience and research, that provide some support with regards to mental health? Like, maybe let's talk a little bit about professors, parents. I don't know if you want to touch admin at all, but also especially as peers. So basically talking about
Uh,
what support systems exist and what can be done.
Yeah, so support systems do exist in campuses. I think the administration. Let me start from the administration because I think that will take a little bit more time. They do try to provide us with the resources to reach out for help and talk to people, and get the kind of exposures that in terms of at least getting the right kind of people to listen to you. They try to do that, but how effective that is something that is definitely something that is questionable. Now, so the other aspect of it is definitely your peers. I think having a good, I mean, you can't define them as good or bad because that is subjective, but having a set of people who are willing to listen to you and even not judge you is takes you a longer way than not having anyone at all, or having people who won't listen. So that is one more factor that I think plays a very big role in a student's life, the peers. And professors are, of course, the some of them are the guiding light that will take you to your heights, and they'll make you realize a lot of things that are great about yourself, and that it'll improve the way you look at yourself and how you feel about a lot of things. And of course there are still a few of professors who are not so I'm not sure what the right word is there for this, but they're not so open minded that they will invite you to come and talk about your problems, but they understand that there's a very thin line that defines that. So it's not that the professors are not supportive. It's just that the students have lost touch with the professors over a period of time. Especially, I think if you ask the professors, they'll say it's the 0% attendance policy. If you ask the students, they'll say that they just they just don't feel that that's teacher student kind of a situation most of the times. So this plays a very big factor there as well. So um, of course, support functions exist. The administration is not exactly deaf or blind to the problem. Also recognize it. It's just that sometimes they're not able to respond in the most effective way due to some of the constraints that they also have, and the student expectation for certain things is also quite high in terms of the um, what they expect from the administration as well. So of
Mm.
course these are some of the support functions that exist within the campus. um, I don't want to delve too deep into this because then that will take up too much of our time. But definitely, I think to give a surface uh, uh, kind of an understanding of how things are. Yeah, that's pretty much how the support functions exist in the bits situation.
So, how would you define the state? Something like you said, it's a cause of concern and requires attention. Is that how you would summarize it, or maybe do you want to share some conclusions from your study?
I definitely think that there is a certain cause for concern. Uh, then because that will, it requires the attention of the administration, all the stakeholders for that matter.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because yes, there is certain amount of pressure that exists on students that needs to be addressed, and there needs to be certain measures taken from say even it can be taken on a government level, it can be taken on an institute wide level or campus specific level as well, where they can try to uh, help students cope with the situations that they are going through on a daily basis.
Right.
And student situations are not just restricted to academics or you know
Yeah.
the general generic stuff that people think it is all about. There are a lot of other multiple factors that come in. There is, of course, a lot of people don't come from they're not lucky enough to come from a great home. The background, family background might not be that great.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people uh, will have certain social problems in terms of interacting with people. Their interactions with people are not that great, or they find it difficult to trust people. Well, a lot of factors that come into play. I definitely think that as an institute, as a peer, and as alumni, we can do a lot to help the students cope with what they go through on a daily basis.
Okay. Okay. So we can do a lot. That's where I think I'm also feeling we are at. So on that note, so what do you think BITSA, the BITS Alumni Association Sahaya initiative, can do to help improve this situation? What are some of your ideas as a volunteer and one of the people who helped kind of shape this whole thing together? What would you like us to do? Are there any ideas you want to share?
I think my ideas are mostly good. The basic, I think we must be able to reach to ourselves.
Sorry, we cannot hear you.
In order
Sorry, we cannot hear you. Can you go back to we must?
Yeah, sure. So I think the we must definitely uh, make ourselves available to students more, where they are able to reach us out, where we are more visible to them at a level where if they do feel the necessity to reach out for help,
Mm-hmm.
the first or maybe the second line of contact for them is going to be Sahaya in BITSA.
Yeah.
That is definitely one of the major aims that we'll have to take forward,
Mm-hmm.
where the visibility to students is very necessary. Um, at the same time, of course, we can start a dialogue with, say, the different alumni that exist across the world, different services that are there within the vicinity of our campuses, just to ensure that if there is anything that can be done to help our students, we are able to do it to the maximum possible extent, and we don't have to you know, uh, we should not be in a situation where we are not able to say that we can help someone. We have to be in a situation where we help anybody and everybody who is coming to us for help. And the first step for that is they need to reach out to us for help. That's
Exactly.
going to be
That's a
so
big division.
that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think all the other team members on Team Sahaya will also resonate with that. And that's the reason I truly believe that we have come together at the right time. And I really hope that together we can normalize mental health conversations. And just to share on that note, actually, when we started BITSAA Sahaaya, I think we were getting one email a month in like October, November, about students saying, "Hey, I actually need help. Can you do something about it?" But in the last 2 months, I would say I've gotten at least on an average basis a request per week saying that, I think you're doing something about this. Can you tell me how I can seek help? And so, I think I'm going to end it with the quote from Harry Potter, which will make it very sweet. That help will always be given for those who ask. So, um, I think that's
100%.
what the whole
100%.
Sahaya initiative is and stands for.
Definitely, definitely, and the thing is, I think we're taking baby steps, and like I think one small step every time is still a step towards what we want to achieve, and that's definitely something that we should work towards, and we should be proud of as a team as well. So
Mm.
uh, I think definitely the quote that you shared from Harry Potter makes a lot of sense, and it gives us that ray of hope that everybody requires in their life.
Yep.
That is something that I think people truly deserve and require.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Divya, for organizing this podcast. I think this
Yeah.
is amazing.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for being a part of the team, for everything you have done so far to understand the situation. And I think that it gives us the baseline to see how we can take this forward and how we can truly address this really important cause. So thank you for your time. And yeah,
Thank you for inviting me, Divya. Thank you.
all right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.